Okay, so that's not delay anymore. Okay, we will continue this evening session with Fatima first. All right, okay, so Alhamdulillah, we're gonna make it to continue two more motions for this evening session. All right, so without further ado, let's continue the next session with the title of Prioritization of Student Activity Record in the bracket stars. For that, I would like to present the motion. Here.
Yes. Thank you to the speaker for the opportunity for me for the second time today to present my motion titled as Prioritization of the Star Point System. Next. Next. As for the introduction. So as everyone knows, Star Point System is basically a merit-based allocation of privilege in a university. Is a very crucial part for ensuring a fairness, motivation, and also recognition among the students for their activism and productivity in the campus. This system distributes benefits like scholarships, leadership position, and also access to special programs based on an individual's achievement and also contributions rather than other factors like favoritism. This promotes fairness and equality in the university community. Merit-based systems serve as a powerful incentives for the students to excel academically and also engage in an extracurricular activities. Such privilege not only reward hard work but also motivate students to perform at their best level, driving them to develop essential skills and competencies, such as leadership, teamwork, hard work, and also critical thinking. Furthermore, merit-based leadership roles lead to more effective and capable leaders who understand the importance of accountability and also responsibility. This contributes to a positive campus environment and enhances the university's reputation, attracting a high-achieving students to the career. Next. So background. Star Point system, or also known as the I forgot what is the long name for the Star Point. Okay, Star Point system is basically a web-based program and a step that used to manage the students' activities as well as a record for the activities and also assign some points based on the participations of the students. It's based on the level of participation. For example, if students join the program as a committee, they be given certain points, and if they join the program as participants, they also get a certain amount of points. It is a widely used system to document students' activism, record aligned with their curriculum marks. The system has been very effective over the time, but yet to bring significant outcome in really measuring students' activity, especially in their co-curricular activities. Next. Okay, there are three main objectives for this motion. The first one is to cultivate students' interest in holding the positions and participating in programs. Okay, first, because right now, students' motivation to join the program is solely on the basis of they want to join because they want to gain the star point. As for their co-curricular marks, they want to achieve the excellent co-curricular mark for their certificate. So we take the opportunity based on that by trying to imply some rewards, by giving them some rewards if they accumulate certain amounts of star point. The second part is to appreciate students' commitment and contribution to university, campus, and also community for their hard work. And the third objective is to encourage the students to participate in the programs and activities focused mostly on their holistic empowerment. Next. For the mechanism, Yeah, let's stay on this slide first. Okay, so for the mechanism, for the award-based privilege, it is proposed to follow a merit ranking system where students will have to achieve a designated level of star points collection to apply for the privilege. Prior to the application, students will have to submit an application form to the IIUM Student Union as a letter of recommendation to be attached alongside the application to the department. The list of the privileges is not exhausted but is subject to availability and also approval by the respective departments. As this initiative will involve multiple parties, kuliah, clubs, departments, institute, and everything, the system is proposed to be conducted through three main phases, phase 1, 2, and 3, to assess students' engagement to the award system and whether it is applicable in the long run. This will allow for a comprehensive outcome that will further empower students' development at a much faster speed. Okay, next. This is basically the rough idea on the system that I mentioned before, the mechanism I mentioned before. The phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Basically, the phase 1 is the trial phase. I wanted all of you guys to take note that this is subject to debate today on the amount of star point and also the privileges that will be that the students will get if they accumulate certain amount of star point. Okay, on this slide, we put that for the first trial, 1,000 star points, the students can apply for the class sticker regardless of what year you are in. For example, the first year students already accumulate 1,000 star points, so they can apply the class sticker. For now, only third year and above can apply the sticker for the car. The second phase for trial is 2,000 star points that they can apply for mahalah compound parking, but it is subject to approval and discretion of the principal of each mahalah, each mahalah. And for the third trial phase is 2,500 points. The students can apply for on-campus services privilege with special rates. For the phase 2, divided into two levels. The first one is 3,000 points. The students may apply for exemption from leadership courses. And for the phase 2, for 4,000 points, eligibility for leadership scholarship. And for the last phase, which is the phase 3, 5,000 points, reduction of mahalah fee of 50%. But I want to stress that it is subject to approval and discussion. This is just an overview of our ideas and it is subject to be debated by all of you. So we are open to any suggestions and ideas on how we can really make it work. Next. For the flow of the system, as I mentioned earlier, that if the students want to apply for want to complete the system, they have to apply a letter of recommendations from the IIMSU. So basically, the flow is the students have to get star points to the designated level, then submit the applications from the respective departments of each campus for approval. And then the committee will be divided into two parts, which is the first part is database collection and management, and the second part is approval body that liaises with the IIM departments. And then approval granted subject to be approved. It might be approved and it might be not. And the students can enjoy privilege.
Sciences POI.
Okay, so next for the party involved, we basically encourage all the departments driven and students driven program to adopt this system. As you guys know that in specifically in Kuantan, we have two types of program, which is the first one is the department-driven program, and second one is student-driven program. Department-driven program, which means that programs that are hosted by departments in IIUM, for example, by SDD, SDF, and everything, and the students-driven program is the programs that are fully organized by the students with the support of respective departments. And also, we encourage all the kuliah-based society, JBS, to adopt the system. All central clubs registered under the SDF and all clubs also under IIUM, SDG, Trust, CSD, Masjid, and so on. And also all mahalah representative committees and all IIUM departments that include students' involvement and also activities. Thank you. That's all from my presentation.
All right. Okay, that's end for the presentation. Now we open for debate session. Calling for MPs. Sciences, do you wish to?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Uh, I have few questions actually. First, but maybe you can respond to this. To date, if you have the data, what is the highest as well as median or average start point that IIUM in general or specifically in Kuantan campus that one student had previously collected before? That's my first question. And I have also two concerns regarding this. Since start points is provided or is given based on the involvement of the student in programs, especially from the clubs or KPS and etc. Um, I mean, this parliament have to acknowledge that sometimes the forms to collect the attendance got leaked out and stuff. So the concern here is we have to ensure or we have to think of a system or a mechanism to ensure that doesn't happen after this because monetization it translates into perks that they can claim. For example, as you have mentioned, up to phase three, you can when they garner 5,000 points, they may reduct a monthly fee of up to 50%. And my second concern is that the auditing part of that attendance itself, do they really involve? Uh, do they really involve? Oh, sorry. We know that stars point are given in terms of participation as well as the being in the committee itself. So do we have to review again the points to make it realistic since 5,000 is quite high actually. So do we have to do that? If you may respond.
Thank you, Sciences. May you repeat the first question is regarding the data.
If you have, I mean, my question was to date until today, what is the highest or the median or average number?
By now, we don't have the appropriate data yet, but then the highest that I ever encountered is nearly to 4,000. But yes, the amount of the data that I put in the slide is a bit what they call yes assumptions and also like unrealistic. Yes, it's quite unrealistic, and it is yes we will have a committee to collect the necessary data, the concrete data first that we and after that we will rearrange back the amount of star points and also we align with the privilege that we get. Yes, for the first question. Second one.
The second one is actually not a question, is my concern. So we have to ensure that the attendance form does not leak out. And since the start point the committee will gain a higher staff point, the participants will get a lower. Do we have to review those allocated staff point or that's just my concern. If you may to respond, I'd be more than welcome.
Okay, for the consent, yes, we take note on the consent. It might be happening right now. Like students who are not joining the program but still receive the link and submit their what they call submit their name, the form to the free star point, as I refer it to be. So yes, we should think of a mechanism that how on not really eliminate because it's almost impossible, but how we can reduce it at least for now. So I hope that maybe after this, if the motion is approved, we should establish a committee or a committee of this project under the collaboration of ISD and also OOP on how to oversee the whole process, starting from the details of the system and also on how we can collect the data that are truly representing the students who are joining the program as a committee and also for the participants. And for the questions, the concerns regarding the amount of staff points difference between the committee and also the participants. I think it's subjected to the decision of the respective departments on amount of the staff points that we given. But then yes, everything in this world can be discussed and can be argued. So inshallah we will discuss about it.
Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So, on the proposal, it was by Brother Mirul Aiman. I strongly support the monetization of the star point system, not only simply because it's also a collaboration with the Office of President, but I feel like having a monetization of the star point system actually puts purpose in our star point system. Currently, there is no need for us to collect star points simply because it just doesn't matter. For some kuliahs it does, but for example, kuliahs which already have a determined streamlined career, for example, I'll just give common lah, and some of it. So in that case, really, the opportunities of star points really doesn't present itself as necessary. So for students who don't really apply the need for star point system, they more often than not think that it doesn't really matter. Even if I'm active, I will still go into the career which I will develop myself into. But I think having monetization also helps to cater the two issues we have, which are the leadership crisis and the participation crisis. For me, I think the number of star points is okay because we want to push them to do more. If having the star points difference, meaning that let's say 1,000 star points, if they were to join a university level program, they will get only 20. But if they were a committee of the program, they will get 55 to 65. Meaning that if you want to get 1,000 star points just to drive a car for 20, you will need to join at least 50 programs, and God knows how long will it take. So while at the same time it promotes participation, people who think that they can bypass this system, they will join as committees, which is something that we also need. Which I think it helps to cater on Go Club, but I think it is always open to debates, meaning that the range is quite big, right? But I think it can help to cater those two issues. Regarding the task force, I agree because right now I don't think we have any data pertaining to how much star points someone has and how the difference actually makes a change. For me personally, my star points, can I disclose that? So, on request, point of interest. Different POI, brother. Okay, if I can share mine is around 2,500. But that is simply by reason that I have joined a lot as committee, meaning that we can also promote students who are interested to get these privileges by means as becoming committees, such as the issues we have when people don't want to run for a certain position. So at the same time we cater that issue, we might as well cater the issue of participation. But regarding the task force, I hope that by establishing this, it can also be developed in the system. If I may share, the Office of President is also working on something called the Student Leadership Profiling System. Similar like if you join Ta'aruf Week, usually you'll be acknowledged of the ISP, if I'm not mistaken, right? The Instant Sejahtera Profiling. It's basically conducted by CCSD. So basically what we're going to do is have a profiling system that caters and navigates personal qualities as well as star point qualities. Both of these which is essential because even if let's say you have 10,000 star points but you don't really do anything, it doesn't really bring a change to your personal life nor to the university. But one good thing that having this is actually people who have pushed their time, pushed their commitments, they have actually served the university, and that might as well be a form of reward for them. So hopefully, if this gets approved, we can actually look into this very thoroughly, inshallah, with probably the offices relevant, such as the student development department, so I should try to make this something possible. Thank you.
And now wish to speak.
That come across to me first. So, yes, Office of International Affairs wish to speak. So, I just have a concern regarding the updating of the star points onto our, because me personally, I've noticed that my star points are not completed and it's already been like a year since I've completed for this competition. So right now, like I'm looking at my star points, it's not as much as I know that I've done. So can I just urge that like whoever's the task force will be working on this, can they urge SDD to be more vigilant on updating the star points for us? Because for me, even without the meritization, I want to see my star points where
POI to Office of Education. Okay, so the program that you joined is under which department? SDG.
It's a Mustang, so
All of it under SDG.
yeah.
Alright, noted. And now wish to speak.
Office of Engineer, after that? Alright, okay, sure.
First, I have two questions. First, if this motion were to pass, will it be effective immediately, or will it pass to the central parliament? And second question, what is the limitation of, I mean, usually what the speaker may ask in Malay. Okay, apa tu limit student dia berapa je yang boleh apply? Sebab nanti dia ada reduction fee semua kan. Tapi graduating student apply, dan sementara tu dia apply tu dia dah kena bayar yuran something, dia dah kena bayar something. So apa tu, macam mana kita nak make sure yang certain je yang boleh apply supaya yang lain tu tak tertunggu-tunggu lah, macam tu, tak mengharapkan harapan yang palsu. Ya, begitu. Terima kasih.
Okay, it's a question. So you want to answer for that? Okay. Okay, doing that first, and then going back to Miro, okay, to answer the question.
Ala, I would like to answer Sister Ala. Sister Ayo. Can you repeat your question in regards to the update on
As in, like, how can we make sure that all the programs that we've joined, where they promised us a start point, that the start points will be updated as soon as possible? So, because like from my experience, I have a few competitions that I have joined, but they're not uploaded on my start point. So, how can you make sure that you remind SDD to constantly? I don't think it's just with this one event. I think like a lot of other people might have this issue too. So, can you just like, not just for the future, but also for the past. Like, I still want my start points. Just remind them to always be vigilant on. Like, if we're going to approve this motion, I think they need to also be, vigilant on this.
I'm not sure if this for the program or whatever it is, but as I have referred to Sister Saada from SDF to in regards to the updates for IIUM. Okay, untuk clarification on that, basically untuk update Koko partial transcript yang dekat dalam IIUM tu, you have to berhubung dengan SDF for update. Yeah, you have
So
to.
does that means that like all the students have to go to SF every time they have an issue?
No, just send them email to update the.
But I feel like
partial
to prevent this, I think you guys need to be the one to do it. Like now, now I know you're giving me a solution to what happened to me, but then again, just a reminder for the future, let's have it updated. Okay.
I was terrified because it's an Ada explained to me like in the auto update in the system. So you have to report.
No, I mean like memang like I know that like for any event that a student joins, they have to request for start points. Yeah, I understand that part. But then, for example, like a program like mine, like Mustang, it's already been like it's already supposed to. I think it's like already. Yeah, it's auto immediately. I will get the start point. That's why I was promising that I will get my start points for every time I run. So I think as that maybe be reminded. I mean, I will. They already sent the thing to SF to get the start points. It's just that maybe they forgot. Or they left something. Okay. All right. So can I ask? What is the possibility of delay for the athletes who are the one accountable? For example, like our sister IO saying that she joined for sports event. Are the one who have to submit is still SDF or different department that have to submit to SDF?
IST, writing, visually. Okay, so the problem is for this for Sister IO is not with SDF but with STP, which occurs monthly, yearly, and every time. There's a lot of problems with SDP. So yes, I also face a similar problem with our Sister IO. My start point as a master player also still did not kick in into the system. Yes, but I will meet with the representative from SDD to discuss about this alongside with other problems too. So yes, I think on that. There may be one of other ways if this way doesn't work. Maybe you can meet with the SDF representative also to clarify it, and if not, we'll see what another way that we can do for that. Okay, to answer. To answer the questions from MCOM, can you repeat the questions again?
The first question, if this motion were to pass, will it effective immediately or will it go to the central parliament?
Alright, okay. So if the motion, if it is were to pass today, it will not take into effect immediately because, as I mentioned before you ask the questions, that we are going to establish a proper committee in collaboration with OOP and also ISD on a concrete guideline on how we can implement this system. For now, we have the rough guideline that I already presented, but the concrete one, the one that we are going to propose to the SDEF is still in progress. So the function that we brought this motion today is we want to hear the input from all the students leaders that we are going to take into consideration and improve it. So not the answer to that question is not going to implement it directly, but it will might be passed to the next tenure because it's a long process and it is almost impossible to be done in this tenure, but it is very possible to be done by us student leaders. Am I answering your questions? Okay, move on to the second one.
Second one, what is the year limitation for them to apply? Because it is not for us. I know my year will end soon. but but as you said, this will take place in the future. So what we have to secure the future generation, right? So what is the limiting years?
As long as the system is not being taken into action, it's not being implemented, so the students should not be worried about applying it yet. Alright. So basically right now, is all of us here, especially the final year students, might not be able to apply for the system because as I mentioned earlier, it might be a long journey. For us.
No, I mean like if it were just let's say it were to take place next year. So the one that become the year 4 that next year.
Alright, okay, I think there's confusion. Adi, you want to answer to the question? A certain question. Okay, but clarification back, I think coming from MCAL, you're saying that okay, the situation if for example you achieve 5,000 star points in the middle of your 4th year. So you need to pay for the Mahalam rights, but you just achieve it. So how is that process going to be? Is that your question? Okay.
May I say?
Yeah, sure.
For some reason, if you already paid for the fees, and then you are what they call dapat with izin with permission from the speaker, you will be either refunded or the amount of the already paid yuran with izin again will be carried forward to the next one. So in the case of you are as the final year students, I think the finance department will refund the yuran again, but then I will clarify with the finance department first regarding this matter for the information for the confirmation. Right.
Okay.
I suggest maybe we can just draw the line, at least outline the limiting years because we don't want to give fake hopes to perhaps if this were to take place like we don't want to give fake hope to year 4 year students. So we just draw the line in the sand first to outline.
The point of order, the motions that we're discussing are basically to be proposed if approved, meaning that not if the parliament approves and then once parliament adjourns it will stay into effect, meaning that some motions, if let's say proposed today, approved today, might start to work next year. So that we cannot simply draw a line because simply the motions proposed and approved are subject to the people carrying out the approved motions. So it is not about fake hope, it's parliamentary procedure lah once it has been approved.
Question ABC. Again?
Yeah, but it's
Okay, sure.
Okay, thank you. Alright, so since the proposal don't have exact data of the star point of the average student, can I request like all the leaders here to open Al-Maklum and like disclose what's your total points so we can get like the view average, yes. Because I think all the leaders here like quite active, like but not that active like Brother did. But for me, to be honest, to be honest, my star point like still below the 1,000. Okay, so
Okay, all right, so I believe in the presentation by Brother Amirul, he did mention that one of the debate discussion should be on providing the implementations of what the monetization should be. But the concern is not on, I mean, like Brother Adib has mentioned, it's not based on us because there's a lot of things that we have to go through. We have to see the average of active students or how many average the star points for us to kind of like say that this is the standard one. So I think it's quite a discrepancy for us to um, ask for everyone of us to disclose their own star point here. But we do really need the data, but I don't think so. We need to decide exactly at what, at how much star points for what sentence of monetization.
KOC, Ms. Peter, for the clarification, we have that. Can I request for comfort? I want to clarify from the sister, what is it? Yes, the club. Sorry, I have a short term memory, so sorry. Okay, so to clarify that this clarification for all of you, the amount that I presented in front just now is a provisional number, so that you guys can imagine what kind of system that we are propose. We are not gonna exactly implement the amount. So you don't have to worry about collecting 5,000 star points until you are abandoning your studies and everything. We don't want that. We want to create a balanced students, a well-rounded students that are active in academics, good in excellent in academic, and also active in student activism. So it's just a provisional number, and yes, we're gonna create a task force. Again, I mentioned to really oversee the data that we're going to collect it later if this motion is approved. And then, inshallah, we're going to came out with a realistic amount of the number of star points that should be collected by the students, along with the privilege that you're going to get. All right, thank you.
I see for BC.
Okay, question for BC for ISP. When it comes to your mechanism, is it like, for example, if a student has achieved to attain 2,000 star points and they wish to claim or they wish to get the benefits that is mentioned in the mechanism, will that 2,000 star points go away, or is it like a building block in your mechanism? What I mean by this is, for example, a first year student managed to attain 1,000 and 2,000 star points in one year, which means he is entitled to getting one sticker for his car and also parking in the mahala. I mean, as according to the mechanism, it can be anything lah. But does that mean he will have that privilege until he is in year 5? Because my worry is that, for example, some students they have some interest that they want. For example, mainly in general, mainly students just want to bring their car and also to get a party. That is enough. So, which means if the student are able to get that in the first year, what is the incentive for them to continue gaining the star points in the coming years forward?
I answer and then I need to. So I answer first. Yes, it's building point. If you receive that you already gained 2,000 points and then you apply for the stickers, the 2,000 points will not be deducted. It will remain as your point because it is an accumulation of points that you get. So we're not going to adopt a system if you get certain points and you'll be deducted once you claim. No, it's a building points. And then Ms. Speaker, I'll pass to Brother Deputy President to answer further.
Right, so members of parliament, here's the thing about proposing the system. Yeah? Thank you. So here's the thing about proposing mechanisms. In proposing mechanisms and relaying departments, there will exist sub-mechanisms of mechanisms and sub-mechanisms of sub-mechanisms of mechanisms. Let's say, in the case of you achieving 2,000 star points, and let's say 200 brothers can approve for receiving a parking, it will also be subject to the principle, such as mentioned by brother from IIT, meaning that if the parking lots are only available for 20 people, then it will only be subject to the first 20 people. But it could also apply that after discussion with the principal, he may inform that, even though it's 2,000, for parking only, next year you have to get an additional 1,000 star points to sustain that. So the mechanisms itself, I believe, will still be discussed as mentioned just now. But let me remind everyone that looking at all of this, even though the star point system is a system, it will relieve other departments as well. For example, organizing a program, yeah, you may organize a program and send it as that, but booking is a different department. Video and audio is a different department, such as so lah. So if it were to be applied, it will say such as dependent on how the department we are proposing works.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, now the end of our debate session. Now I would like to open for observer session. Do we have any matters coming from the observer? Yeah, sure.
Sorry, so thank you for raising the motion of the meritization system. I believe this motion is very good, and it will be a game changer in our student participation, I would say. As per my point of view in this meritization system, I think it is subject to on the implementation part. Let's look at the technicality part. So I think the step would be if it were to implement in Kuantan locality first, it is feasible, and I think I think it's subject to discussion with SU and SDERA to the implementation part. On the implementation of the star points itself, the rewards itself. If it's involved some things like just giving stickers, things like application things kan. It is feasible and it's easy to do. But in terms of like reducing the fees, especially when you said you want to reduce mahala fees, in IIUM fees are a very sensitive thing to mention, especially among the management. So and students too. So I think because as far as I know, this monetization proposal we have been planned to present it during the previous SCC meeting on July, I think. But there's some hiccups on it, and we couldn't do it. And I think we will try to bring it again during the next SCC meeting, whether it is subject to discussions with all SCC committees. And for the STARS STARS implementation itself, I think the most crucial part before we implement this monetization system is actually to address the problems of keying in the star points itself first before we're planning to implement this monetization system. And it is subject to this with discussion between student union and STAT who will further discuss about it. And on top of it, I think this is a quite progressive motion, and really hope that we can bring this to the job.
All right, thank you.
Motion to extend debate. Agree. So, I believe at the first half of the debate, some of the issues raised were a bit personal or very minute. So I will propose for a motion to extend debate for 10 minutes with 2 minutes per speaker. To address prominent matters such as systemic issues and other difficulties. Probably things that really relate to the technicalities so that we can take a look into what needs to be done for this.
I think we'll make it because 2 minutes per speaker, including the reply from the professor or from you. Is that okay? Yeah. Because it's a debate. You want to make 10 minutes for debate session? Okay, so for 10 minutes, we arise for any MPs to give any debate, comment, or suggest. And then all the replies should be made by professor at the closing statement for 5 minutes. Okay,
I want to talk.
alright.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. So I want to address my agreement with this system, and also I want to give some suggestion. So one of the problem mentioned before is leadership crisis, right? So I want to elaborate on my half, which is kuliah of pharmacy. So in order to look for new leaders for the new tenure, nowadays our student is not too interested to take part in the nomination. One of the reason is, for example, me as a vice president do only get about 55 star point flat for a whole tenure, whereas someone who have participation in any activity like high level one also can get higher or same amount of star point. So my suggestion is to maybe increase some star points that the leaders can get so that the new student will be more interested to pursue this leadership. That's all from me, thank you.
Engkau wish to speak.
Alright, Uncle?
I would like to suggest to the proposer to extend the privilege more, like don't focus the privilege on mahala, parking, cars, and also mahala fee reduction, but extend it to kuliahs and others departments punya, kita leave out the speaker, other departments punya privileges as well.
Michelle wishes to add. Michelle wants to suggest.
Okay, I'll let Uncle finish first because
Sorry,
I have.
Perhaps,
Maybe she.
perhaps.
okay, sorry, don't forget. Settle. Okay, next. Okay.
Alright,
okay.
I get the point from MCAL, maybe not from kuliah only, but from anything. Yes.
Alright, okay, sure.
Yeah, I would like to add propose some benefits. Alright, so in IIUM, we have another system which is called IIUM walk-off time. Have you ever heard of that? Right. So basically, from doing walk-off time, we are able to get certifications, maybe from the president, rector, deputy rector, and also others. So I guess maybe for star points, it's quite an easy option for us to at least give certifications based on people who have contributed much to our IIM itself, to our campus itself. Next one, I would like to raise one more, which is regarding the partial transcript, partial co-curricular transcript. Right. So basically, from what I've seen, that is that for right now, because we haven't graduated yet, it says that is unable to be used for job applications. So I guess maybe we could officialize. I don't know. Is it? It will be officialized once you have graduated, or it will be unofficial until the end. But if you could officialize the transcript so that we can use it as an attachment for our co-curriculum vitae CV, maybe it would be a great benefit.
Alright, please. Okay, I have a question to the proposal. So if this were to be implemented, will it surpass the dengan izin? Adakah dia akan melepasi segala requirement sebelum ni? Contoh, for example, the sticker parking, 3 and above. So if this were to implemented, will it be tak kisah you berapa pun boleh apply, not specifically 3 only, 3 and above only, because from my concern for the underprivileged student, they will be using their free time to work part-time and etc. So they will not have so much time to join programs and kumpulkan that star point. So that's my question.
Alright. Okay, just to remind Brother Amirul, yang agak short term, to take note all the questions because after this I have to answer all the questions in the closing. More from MPs. Any others?
Yeah, that is.
Alright, sure.
Alright, okay, thank you. So, I would like to suggest, free sticker parking, regardless of the year is good. It's like a good suggestion. But I would like to suggest one more. How about like conduct an award or ceremony for the students that receive high star points? Right.
Okay, we have SEAs student.
But there is many is open only for committee, right? It's not open for the students, all the students that receive high step point, is it?
You see, at one more award, personal student.
In terms of technicality, if the students have a significant amount of star point, for sure the students join a lot of programs as a committee and also participants that qualified him or he or she to apply as a candidate for steward of SAA.
Okay, all right.
First I would like to address welfare's concern.
Okay, sure.
Right, so basically, I agree with Sister Welfare, in which she said that there are students who are in need of the parking or even the car sticker for maybe for their jobs, and they may not be able to participate in programs as much because they have other commitments. So maybe the other processes for getting the car sticker, also the mahala parking, will carry out as usual. In which after second year you can apply for the car sticker, third year you can apply for the parking, but still for the meritization of star points. So if you have star points, it could be used regardless of year. So that if you have already 1,000 star points during your year one, basically it means that you are someone who is contributing so much to the campus, and then you may need the transport so that you.
All right, sure. I think your question is already answered by Brother Ali previously.
Okay, right.
Yeah, so basically like the mechanism is subject to be discussed whether or not can be implemented based on the data that we will get.
Like to address concern.
Okay, any more from the MPs? We still have 3 minutes for the debate. Calling one, calling twice. All right, okay, we're gonna end for the debate session. Okay, now I would like to call upon Brother Amirul to do the closing statements for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Ms. Speaker, for the opportunity for me and also for the reminder just now, as I was shocked to present. I believe there are only one questions from Sister Zarina, Sister Welfare, regarding the motion that I present just now. As I already answered certain questions during the first debate session, and the others MP who raised the concern is suggestions, right? For example, from IFA, for Fusia also, and also from MCAL is suggestions, also from Sister.
IPSST.
Yes. So to answer Sister Welfare questions just now, this system will not suppress any other requirements that already been taken to action now. For example, currently, third year students and above can apply for the class stickers. So yes, the system is still in place, but we add another system as an alternative for the students who qualify or seems to be qualified to apply for the stickers regardless of any year. So if the students, let's say the final year students are only collected 10 star points throughout his or her study, 4 year studies or 5 year studies in IIUM, but he or she already in the third year, they still can apply for the class stickers. That's the example I can give. And also to address the concerns given by the members of the hall. For example, by MCAL just now to open the privilege not only limited to the mahala and also residential privilege. Yes, we will consider to add another privilege with that involve other parties, but it is subject to decision and also discussion with the departments involved first. Let's see what we can discuss with them and what they can offer to the students. But we will try, as a student voice, we will try our best to represent your voices, and we will try our best to discuss what we need and what they can provide. And also to address the problems raised by IFA representative just now regarding the problems of leadership crisis. Actually, Brother Ali, the Deputy President already answered the questions. This prioritization of star point system is also as an act of encouragement for them to join. maybe some of us or all of us here see it as witizing like mata duitan system. Okay, because students only join this program because they want to collect the amount of star points only, not because they want to learn the skills and everything. But yes, for now, in short term, it will be the main objective. But in the long term, we will produce a group of students that really want to join the program, not solely because of the star point, but their interest in the students' activism itself. This is like one of our way to encourage them first. Maybe it not fully apa cakap, izin tak berapa nice lah sekarang. But in the long term, with other implementation along the way and with the proper guideline and everything, inshallah the issues will not be a concern anymore. So my closing argument is, I hope that this motion will be passed today in the hall because this motion is very important for all of the students because it's not only important for them to join the program due to the start point, but as a development for themselves. Because as a students, our task not only to learn academically, we have to learn our soft skills, our way to communicate, our way to learn things outside of the classroom and everything. So this meritization of start point is a representation of that, just a representation of that. So I hope that and also I want to thank all of the members of the hall for your inputs and ideas that we can put into effort so that this program or this system will be a great benefit to all the students. And by that, I end my closing speech with Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alright, thank you very much to
Point of
Brother
order,
Abdul.
please. Point of order.
Are we still on? Okay, alright.
Thank you. Point of order for clause 4, clause G, any topic deemed necessary by the motion selection committee. Before we proceed with the voting session, I just would like a clarification from the speaker or from the commission themselves. Have we actually set the precedent that, I mean, this issue will change the entire system of IIUM itself? So this is a locality. I just want the clarifications, maybe from the speaker or the commission. Have we actually set the precedent that we can actually debate this motion?
Actually, on this matter, I would think it fits more in sub-clause I, which are the rules and regulations that have been approved by the university authority, because most of these involve policies and guidelines for the university. So as I wanted to disclose this just now, but we didn't have enough time. But I've had discussions prior about this with Brother Faiz, Assistant Director, Student Development Department, as well as Professor Razman, Deputy Campus Director for Student Development Support Services. So on this matter, it is actually possible because if we were to propose this, it will have to go through the Student Affairs Committee. One method is it can be proposed towards Brother Mutasi mentioned just now, but the Deputy Campus Director has also issued a support if we were to propose this accordingly. So if this is approved and it is possible, we can use multiple pathways to make this possible, inshallah.
Thank you.
Okay. Alright, so for now we're going to move into the voting session. For the motion of prioritization of student activity record system in bracket star, calling for motions to be approved, please raise your hand. All right, thank you. Reject the motion. Please raise your hand. Members that abstain the motion, please raise your hand. All right, thank you. Okay, for that, the motion of prioritization of student activity record system in bracket stars are accepted with 22 votes of approved, 0 reject, and 4 abstain. are we ready to go into the budget slide? Okay. All right. So for the next motion, we actually already 30 minutes behind, 33 minutes behind. Okay.
But before we proceed to the next motion, may I propose two emergency motions? We already discussed it on that. We already discussed it.
Chairman.
Okay, so I would like to propose two emergency motions. This is on a very crucial matter. The first one is to address call for action for solidarity for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. And secondly, to discuss a circular distributed recently by GTT regarding new student empowerments that will involve regulations on the Student Program Approval Committee.
All right. So this emergency motion has to be voted by all the MPs. So for the first motion, okay, we request for emergency motion to be jotted down.
Are both of the motion to be tabled consecutively or separately? Separately.
So you will vote for one.
I will propose, if required, assuming that we do not want to extend time, for each emergency motion only 30 minutes maximum, with the presentation given only 5 minutes, debate 20 minutes, and the remaining 5 minutes for the closing without comments from the observers.
All right. Adi, can you please repeat the first motion?
The first emergency motion is a call for action in solidarity with Palestine. The purpose of the first motion is to discuss necessary plans or affirmative actions that all societies in IIUM can do to continuously support our brothers and sisters in Palestine, such as implementations of certain actions such as Kunut Nazilah being not permanent, like recited quote permanently at Mat1 and Masjid, for example, or even during special ceremonies or activities or programs. So if this were approved to be discussed, then we will discuss on the mechanisms on how we can continuously support our solidarity. The second motion is regarding discussion on the execution of student empowerment phase 1 in public universities. This is pertaining to a circular provided by the Ministry of Higher Education on the approval of student programs, which, if I may share for short, might be approved specifically by the Majlis Perwakilan Pelajar. In our case, will be the student union.
Okay. So all the members of parliament are well aware what is this motion about. Okay, we'll start the voting. I believe the emergency motion should be taken into account after we finish the last motion, right? Okay. All right. So for emergency motion number 1, for members of parliament that approve this motion, please raise your hand up.
If you don't raise your hand.
Vice President.
Uh, 22.
22. All right. Reject the motion.
Two.
Abstain the motion. None.
One.
One, sorry. Okay. All right. So that's for motion number 1. Emergency motion number 2. Approve the motion. Please raise your hand up.
Twelve.
Alright, thank you. Reject the motion. Please raise your hand.
Three.
3. Abstain the motion.
Nine.
9. Alright. Okay, so for that to be said, emergency motion number 1, call for action in the solidarity with Palestine, is accepted. And also for the emergency motion number 2, also accepted. Alright, okay. So we'll be going to the last motion first. So the motion with the title of IIUM Student Union Budget Plan 2023 and 2024. Without further ado, I would like to invite Brad Ali to present the motion.
Well, thank you, Madam Speaker. So, assuming we get the time 34, I will try to wrap understanding it for all members of Parliament. Okay, so inshallah for the Student Union Budget Plan 2023-2024, it will be involving a few regulations, a few additions, a few supply and services that are providing to all members of Parliament, as well as certain clubs and societies for the purpose of our institutions or activities. Next slide. So basically what we're going to talk about is contractuals, introduction, background implementation, as well as later on the draft budget plan that we'll be discussing. Next slide. Okay, so contractuals meaning that what we'll be discussing today is how we're going to allocate funds. If this motion is approved or rejected, regardless, it will still follow the course of our student union's budgeting. However, the discussion on whether certain amendments or certain allocations shall be determined whether they will be provided sufficiently. Meaning that if this were to be rejected in the worst case scenario, it will still be carried out by the student union, but not including all the defense mechanisms or any suggestions given up during the members of parliament's debate session. Next slide. So basically, what is introduction? Introduction basically, so union budget plan is giving up money, resources, and funds, also collaboration and initiatives that will be providing to all students, including fees, grants, fundraising proceeds, and classifications on how we distribute the funds. And then this will help to prioritize certain initiatives as well as student empowerment or holistic planning plan for this entire tenure. Next slide. On the matter of this, on the background of the IIUM budget plan, before this, I believe we have never had a session where we fully disclose the transparency of how we utilize our budgets and fundings. But we will be disclosing all of the budget and possible sources of funding, including those which will be possibly be provided and those which are targeting throughout this year. So some budget allocations are not necessarily those which are confidently accepted already or already within our conceptuals, but simply the money and budgeting that we are planning for this entire year. In quote terms such as the rancangan belanjawan kerajaan persekutuan, it is something that is planned or proposed, but might have a lot of changes throughout the entire year. Next slide. Same thing, next slide. Okay, so implementation. So what are we going to implement the usability of the student union budgeting? Regardless, even though the student union is a separate entity than the university, we still do explore possible avenues for us to increase the survivability and the strength of our student societies in campus. This includes all student club societies, MRCs, kuliah, central clubs, as well as certain associations and chapters that exist. This is basically the basis on how we can disperse our funding collectively for the benefit of the students. This will also include certain collaborations and sponsorships that we receive from external parties or other NGOs that will be channeling to certain student and associations. Next slide. Oh, thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next one in the draft plan. Can we share that? So I would prefer everyone can read in silence or in solidarity. But generally, if you slide down, okay, we won't be touching on this. Next slide. Okay. Basically, the source of funding that we have, the ones that are confirmed as of now are two. The Student Activity Trust Fund S11602 to the union allocation. This is from ASAP, which this publication of funding is from the source of students. Secondly, is the Student Union Central Allocation, which is provided by the central funding, which our members of observers are here. So basically this funding comes from the student union's allocation, not necessarily via membership fees, etc., because this is a multifaceted income source. Besides that, some of our targeted income is on a few projections coming from financial statement. Our last annual general meeting includes crowdfunding for 10,000 ringgit, sponsorship 30,000 ringgit, collaboration 40,000 ringgit, central operations budget within so unit central allegations 10,000 ringgit, and generated income of estimated 5,000 ringgit. In total, an estimation of 110,000 ringgit, which will be possibly disseminated and publicized for all members and student society. So below that, you can see is a pie chart of the funding. A lot of it is coming from collaboration, as we have major programs such as ISTA and ICOT, which will be utilizing some funding from the university. As such, these fundings will be utilized by the student society, such as joining and program planning for the major events as well. So next page. Okay, this is where the boring part starts. Okay, so it's divided generally into two parts: operating expenditure as well as development expenditure. Operating expenditure meaning that what will be utilized by the union in effect for all of its functions and services. This includes secretarial functions, treasury functions, office management, asset and supply, etc. So it's divided into this, easily to be understood. The general code section for general assets is 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. In the next page, you'll see on how we distributed it allocated, and we will put how much of these or certain allocations will be distributed over time, and both expenditures are based on estimations for the remaining part of this year as well as projection for next year to the end of tenure. So basically, for the part of the this is for the IIUM Student Union Office. So basically, all managements of the office will be included partially for this one. 2023 is 750 ringgit, and for the estimation for balance of the remaining year is 3,100 ringgit. Next page. So yeah, this is the boring part I mentioned just now. So generally, how we allocated it, as you can refer to the core and general assets, this is what we are planning to be utilized. These are specific for functions such as buying utilities, items, as well as certain functions within our office, such as printer, etc. The basis of this is to support our continued service and management. The funding, I think, might be also discussed into this parliament, which is also multifaceted. Regardless of the outcome, most of the programs have been allocated specifically, meaning that for programs, most of it will come from allocation from ASDA and also the central development, central union budget. However, for certain budgetings will come from central operations budget, such as this one. So in total, you can type it actually there on the top most part is 750 and 2,100 respectively, such as I mentioned just now. So it is distributed equally, not equally, according to the office based on the specifications. And the number of staff members are as follows on the side. But this is the only part where the relevance of staff members are relevant. The other parts are relevant much enough for discussion. So next page. Okay, and office members can also see our probable estimation how much you guys will get allocation. Okay, so for the next one will be for welfare projects. So our main sustainability development will continue to develop on welfare-based issues as part and parcel of our main focus as a student union. So in total, for estimation, 6,000 ringgit for 2023 and 9,850 for 2024. Next, please. Okay, so these are just some of the programs that we'll be applying and promoting for the public. So at the same time, this is also somewhat applying what the almanac would somewhat look like. This is by means some of our efforts to actually promote transparency on what we'll be planning, inclusive or non-inclusive of the budget that is going to be proposed. Usually it is proposed during town hall session. However, we see the relevance of parliament being able to discuss funding better and more translucent rather than going through a town hall. So as you can see there, for flood relief assistance, it has been allocated in total 1,900 for 2023 and 1,100 for 2024. So inshallah, the flood relief assistance will be coordinated by respective offices. So most likely will be by Office of Welfare. In coordination by this, it is also within planning to be continued at the central level. So inshallah, if any, there will be changes according to the allocation provided. And besides that, it will be a student communication, circular food bank, which is in discussion with this, and health and hygiene drive, which will include some services for the students at the Mahala and the Kuliah. Next page. Then we have community recycling programs. As per proposed, some of the incentives provided will also include possible collaboration with certain clubs and societies. If, for example, the community recycling program will most likely will be discussing with the Eco Club later on. This is just an informal notice to inform. Probably be very surprised or their program. But yeah, possibly after this we'll discuss later on. And then for animal welfare, possibly with PhD and me. Next page. And this is for one-off, inclusive or non-inclusive on certain parts, financial aid assistance, internship aid, as well as emergency fund. For those who are aware about previous services, there were announcements on providing financial aid assistance, as well as internship aid, I think a few months ago. On this matter, it will be continued, and for Kuantan, we'll try to also promote it at the locality level, as well as emergency funds wherever necessary. Next page. Okay, this one is for student empowerment initiatives. This is higher allocation which it will be used in every program. Generally in 2023 will be 7,150 and for 2024 will be 12,800. Next page. Okay, so a few of these programs are also within discussion, but after this I would love to hear suggestions and also commentaries from members of parliament. So in cases such as Usra in Action, it's simply to provide additional funding for a few Usra in Action teams for those to support certain initiatives and program planning. This is to support some complaints and relative Usra in Action teams which will need additional support. This is also regarding to our previous complaints provided by our members. Then we will also be launching a student entrepreneurship grant, which is to be collaborated with the Entrepreneurship Development Center. On this matter, the grant itself will be provided to support student-based entrepreneurships and also projects that we will try to accumulate within our campus. So a total of this will be 5,000 ringgit. And then we will be launching our very own IIUM Union Academy. This is to promote on a level of certain leadership profiles that we'll be engaging through our student leadership profiling system. So for this matter, we've allocated quite a budget to summarize on our implications to improve student leadership in Kuantan. On this matter, the budgeting itself will be inclusive of certain programs and a few workshops and series. In detail, the IIUM Academy will be launched either at the end of this year or early next year. So inshallah, stay tuned. So and then club financial support, we will also be trying to provide financial support for clubs in context of, for example, collaborations or requests for funding. This is also to help. If, for example, Usra in Action is for those teams and groups, this is to support societies and a few clubs. And then for women empowerment projects, we will also be trying to implement the women empowerment within our campus, and this is also inclusive of a holistic approach, which will be also providing funding to empower these, not only in terms of providing materials and aspects, but also providing safe space and also platforms for women. Next page. This is for IIUM Student Union program. In total, I know the 2024 one seems a lot, but I will be disclosing it later. In 2023, it is 1,570, and for 2024, it's 66,750 ringgit, which is 66 times more. Okay, next page. Okay, so some of the programs that have been listed here are also non-inclusive, meaning that there will be additions from time to time. In what has been proposed so far is the IIUM Union Town Hall, which will most likely be conducted early next year. Later on is the IIUM Parliament. Such as this is our first sitting out of 5, we are planning to do so. So inshallah, these parliament sittings will also include some provisions and also improvements from time to time. And we will also be having a few programs coming from the respective offices, such as Daura Hadith and also free marriage course, especially for those. Major support from this batch support somehow. Okay, but basically we will be also working with respective departments on employing for this, such as the masjid. Next, the Kedai Kopi also proposed by the office of IME, which is to promote certain informative topics to be discussed over Kedai Kopi. And then possibly we are proposing to have our first ever IIM Model United Nations. This is somewhat of an interpretation of a role play, if I may, of the Model United or the United Nations themselves, such as UNGA, certain committees such as UNHCR, etc., etc. This is also to promote parliamentary ways and also argumentative debating within our parliament. So this is not only open to student leaders, but also to the general public within Kuantan. Possibly, if we can, to try to promote it not only at state level, but also at the national level. So next page. So for major programs, this is usually where the money is pouring out of the pockets. So most likely ISCA, if I may disclose, for the budgeting of ISCA is, I wouldn't quote transparent, but it is non-disclosed to the student union either. But in relatively, the estimation of the planning for ISCA itself ranges around 20 to 25,000. So an estimation includes a few matters such as asset services, as well as a few inclusions such as payments, and also miscellaneous aspects by the student development, the sports development department. On inclusion, the model donations on a separate notice 6,200, and also, inshallah, we'll be planning for the IIUM content over the high court, which will be the collaboration that was set, we planned but postponed, and inshallah, we will be trying to conduct it upon next year under estimated budget of 24,000. Major reduction from last year, which was around more than 30,000, right? Okay, next. Okay, so that's all from me. I hope that the planning for the budget is open to debate on what should be included, what should not be included, whether a certain allocation is necessary or not. For example, the USO election is an irrelevant matter because students can gain money on their own, etc., etc. But I wish that the discussions on the budget plan can be discussed thoroughly so as to find out how else can the student union provide for not only the cluster society but also for the general public of our campus. So that's all from me. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. That's for the debate session. Sorry, that's for the presenting session. Okay. Now we're going to move into the debate session. Now I'm open for the members of parliament. Points of clarification, your eye, or anything?
Okay, so maybe I want to add a little bit. This is not a discussion. This is not a debate or suggestion or what. But so basically, what Brother Deputy President has presented earlier is actually already discussed deeply with Office of Treasurer. So it is very very so the presentation earlier. So however, I would like all of you to if possible, to go through again the files and so on and the aspects in the file earlier, because we as IMSU we are open to help everyone in terms of in my context as a treasurer to support everyone. So basically, so if everyone have any concerns or any inquiries about the budgeting. For example, financial support on central clubs and so on. So if you want to suggest or discuss or anything, you can ask. Okay, thank you.
Vice President to Mrs. So I actually agree with the Usra in action. We, IIUM Student Union, want to allocate some budget for that because me myself, even I have the Usra in action, it's quite hard for me to request for sponsorship from the outsider because we are a small group of students and sometimes they don't want to entertain us. So I think it is the best procedure, best case if we as the SU can provide the source of income to the Usra in action students. Thank you. Any more from the MPs?
Emma wish to speak.
All right, Anchor.
Is it only limited to strong in action? Will SU extend it to some students who are taking community service as skills? Well, if they
Yeah, I believe that is a good suggestion. It can be tabled under the umbrella of the authorized action, meaning that it will be contested to a different name. For example, student-based courses, for example, it will be inclusive of it, but we'll take note, inshallah, will be including it as well.
All right.
Yes. Point of information. I would like to ask the proposer. Basically, here you stated that generating income is 5,000. So basically, through the conduction of many programs such as ICOT and also others, you are going to gain more and more income. So why have you put the 5,000? I would just wish for clarification.
On the basis of the generating income, we did not put such high expectations on how much to be generating, because possibly in discussion are a few projects to be launched soon, which will also reason out some of the clauses. But possibly the generating income itself, a lot of it is yes coming from ICOT, inshallah, but we are not putting such high expectations as to not put such a high ceiling mark for the other programs.
So basically, it's just a rough projection for IIUM.
Yes.
We're taking more from MPs if there's any.
Can we have a moment because we just received the document, so I would maybe personally I would like to review it first.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
I propose a motion to probably even President office as well for 5 minutes for members to discuss as well as go through the documents provided.
Second.
Mau kena baik.
Adik, adik, adik.
We will start right at 4:57. All right, members of parliament, I believe that the parliament shall resume. It's already 4:37. Please take your seat, all the members. Is everybody here, or we have members? All right. Let's go. Okay, so we should continue with a debate session. May I know how many times last training for the debate session is now? We stop at
90 minutes.
19. minutes left. Okay, all right. We have 90 minutes left for the debate. Okay, so for now, I call for any of the MPs to bring up matter for discussion.
Substitution to debate.
Yes, please.
Question for the ideal treasurer or the deputy president himself. From the student activity trust fund, allocated, I believe is from the student development, 8,000 ringgit. Will it be appropriate only for the allocated or student activities or the like central club support and anything, or does it appropriated for the officers expenditure as well?
For this part, the budget that we received on the student union application is actually the excess of the previous SRC allocation, which is given under, if I may, my first time meeting in Hollywood, would be bicara by the discussion with the respective departments. So under this, we also respect as the discussion on a motion if it was approved, such as to provide specifically for programs. So the allocation in total 8,000 and 700,000 both respectively will specifically be for programs and not for office expenditures.
All right. Any more from the other members of parliament?
Morning.
Harmony, please.
Under this budget planning, there's already certain types of the allocation should be provided into, which is the welfare projects and so on and so forth. So, and also student involvement initiative. There's already specific student organizations that can apply for these allocations, or any kind of the central staff can also apply for their programs.
Right. So for the allocation, inshallah for each application will be subject to a specific guideline. So for example, application, let's say for Oscar in Action, we'll have a specific guideline on applications specific to the kinds of projects. But the others are also open mostly to the, I believe it's under the club financial allocation, is it? Yes, that will be open to all the clubs and societies requesting. It can be either, but mostly as forms of collaboration with the clubs.
All right.
Okay, for education, I would like to seek clarification regarding the allocation for Usra in action. What would be the mechanism to request the budget from the union? All actions, all sections would have this amount of money. Okay, thank you.
Right. Okay, I will answer half and Afi will answer half. Okay. Your brother treasurer will answer half. So as known, but I'm not sure if all of the members are acknowledging this, but the student union has separate guidelines or officiates on how to approve, such as our financial aid initiatives conducted at central level, which we have our central welfare here. It has a specific guidelines approved through either the main board or through the board of the school BOA. So in case if it was to be locality, it shall be approved through the board of approval locality stipulated within IIUM union.
Sorry. So basically, I will just ulang balik what Adik said earlier. So basically, all of your maybe all of the Usra election. So basically, not everyone will get the money. Okay. So how to get the money? So it's logic. Sebenarnya logic je. Basically, it must be through propose through by a proposal presentation, and you will go through board of approval of IMSU, and if the budget exceeds certain amount, we will have to include board of approval from central lah, which is quite impossible. Okay, so basically, note this that everything that you may or you want to seek help from the IMSU, you have to it has to be proposed very dengan baik lah. Okay. And however, I would like to clarify again that IIMSU is open to collaborating with everyone. So either it will be association or club, central club, and so on. So thank you.
All right.
QI to Deputy President.
Yes, sure.
I want to see clarification. Maybe I missed during the presentation, but for the emergency fund, is it means that emergency fund to be used for emergencies such as flood, everything, or emergency fund as in to be used in a short time, like really need it, emergency kind of thing? Thank you.
For the notice of all members of parliament, even though as stipulated here is just the name or the contents of groups of the allocation, it is subject to each and every each its own mechanism of appropriation. So for emergency funds, it is under the category of unrestricted funds, meaning that if, for example, in the financial statement, we have two types of funds, restricted and unrestricted funds. Restricted funds means that they are allocated specifically only for a specific model. For example, if internship aid in total is 1,700, it can only be used and reserved for internships. If any person requesting fund from the internship fund for another purpose, it cannot be used. Hence why the allocation for emergency fund is specifically for unrestricted matters that can be applied by any means, such as mentioned just now, like floods or any relevant new issues or emergencies requested by any student.
Do we have?
Eco Club wish list.
Oh, yeah, sure.
For the, I just want to some clarification. For the central club support, is it proposal based? I think you have answered this. Is it proposal based or will it be one-off thing? You.
Additional to the eco clubs, I think I have.
Okay, we will entertain first the Eco Club question. Can you please clarify back, repeat back our question?
Okay. For the central club support, is it a proposal based aid? Do we need to give proposal for the aid for the thing, or will it be given one off?
Okay, so I'll answer that. Bismillah. So basically, yes, it is proposal based proposal. About the one off, I basically tak boleh cakap terus. Because of what? Because of we will have to decide based on your proposal. So for example, I will give you Eco Club, right? Okay, so basically, if Eco Club want to organize a program, apa contoh, planting, tree planting program. Okay, so maybe you and then you want to ask financial support from us. So maybe in that from that proposal, we decided to help you, but not in terms of one-off money, but we can give you vast ataupun pokok tree or maybe pasu, something like that. So understand? Am I clear?
May I ask another question? For the allocated for central club support, is it only for student activities or can it also be for asset requirement for the club?
This is from my opinion. No. For your asset, you should be asking from the staff themselves. Okay.
All right, taking from Harmony, please.
I actually need clarification on how to read these budgets because under the club's financial support, it says you have three classifications under code general assets displays 1000, 2000, and 3000. And so I see that 100 is for the assets. This means that the IUM allocated for assets for the club financial support is about 600 ringgit. So does this means that clubs, central clubs can request asset allocations, but inclusive only for 600 ringgit for all clubs? Page.
Right. So the allocation for the assets itself, it is standardized as a general form of coding lah for reference for the budget plan. This is similar if you've gone through the rancangan belanja one. It is similar in context of such, but what the interpretation for assets, it will be approved via the board of approval. And in assets, it doesn't mean, for example, if you request for a new speaker, for example, it will be limited to a few due functions. For example, requesting to buy banners, for example, might be considered. But for generated income assets, it will be different to another matter. This is specifically so that we can provide more for the support of clubs. Simply, let's say if you request to buy, Eco Club request to buy bases or pots and plants, for example, right? So that will be under the categorization of assets.
So central club can apply assets financial support from.
Can apply due approval by the board of approval.
Where can we expect the full guidelines coming from the IIUM?
All right. So the SOP for BOA actually entails within our union for now, but inshallah we can disclose it to members of parliament. With me, I have the SOP here. So it details on how collaborations and submissions can be noted. Since IMSU follows a separate guideline approach, it is not the same as the student development department. Hence, after this, we will be providing necessary documents for the perusal of all members of parliament. So let's say on the basis of collaboration, so we'll be providing the BOA SOP as approved in force since 15 October 2023. So in other cases, it will be subject to the respective SOP.
We're looking forward for that. Thank you.
Okay, any more from the MPs? Can I know how many times, the remaining time?
8 minutes left.
8 minutes left, okay. Alright, calling for one, calling for twice. Okay, so the end of debate session. We open for observer session, if there's any from the observer. Okay, alright.
Let me talk a bit. Just a simple to take note for you guys to take note. Actually, this is one of the plans for our tenure is to promote transparency to all students regarding our money flows and how we spend and how will we plan to give to all the students. And this might be on a locality level, and inshallah on the central level, inshallah we will try to implement this too. And I really hope that from Kuantan locality, please anticipate in central budget too lah, because it will also consist of you guys punya interest lah. Okay, kudos Kuantan.
All right, any more from the observer? No. Okay, so for that, we're going to the closing statements by the proposer. So I welcome Radali to do the closing.
All right, thank you, Madam Speaker and members of Parliament. So as to conclude, the IIUM Union Budget Plan is a revised system which has been thoroughly detailed in and taken into consideration of reports and utilization of funds based on a review that we conducted a few weeks ago. So some of these considerations actually have taken into the cost of the Student Representative Council ever since 2011. So most of the cases and blueprints that we have marked have taken into some procedural aspects as well as the importance of actually allocating these funds. Hopefully, by doing so, we can actually provide more for the students in manner of having a stronger support system as far as the student union. I know that some interpretations might see the student union as very different, but we work together for a common cause, which is our students. And we are more than happy to provide as much as we can, whether it is through funds, hard manpower, or even collaboration. So we open the floor for any form of comments or suggestions after this. And for a future stronger and transparent union, we will be open as an open book or the files that I have on the table such as now. so that we can provide the strongest support for all clubs, especially those which are diminishing. We hope by providing such as so, we can see a thriving campus environment, and hopefully this will be a precedent to see a stronger student union, such as we can exemplify in other universities. So, and this inclusion, I would like to just add, in a 2019 report at Loughborough University in the UK was conducted benchmarking to the UK by the tenure during that time, which is to establish our first ever student union. And if I may share, the student unions overseas actually do conduct all matters, mostly a majority of administrative matters, including hostel registrations, etc., and their relative income may go up to millions. So this, if we can strongly support our societies, and we hope that all clubs, societies, MRCs, and GBS can support this, we can have actually a strong system that we can implement, and hopefully this is a marking point that with all the other motions that we have for today to improve the betterment for our campus. Hopefully, this might not be the end. We will be adding such and so, but inshallah, we will be advocating for the full finalized budget plan during our town hall. And just to add, inshallah, in our State of the Union, which will be conducted November 18, State of the Union. Yeah, we will be having a State of the Union comprising of central matters on November 18th. So some of this initiative will also be brought up during this time, and hopefully this will also set a strong setting for our campus through central matters. So I hope this motion gets approved so that we can take a look into the considerations of all members of parliament, ensuring that the process and also the transfer for all of these financial expenditures can be clear and sustainable. Inshallah, that's all from me. Thank you. Kuantan.
All right, thank you, Brother Dave. Okay, now we're going to the voting session for motion. All right.
The central clubs need to vote because it doesn't seem to relate to us as much. There's the SU's budget. Are we involved? All right.
The student union doesn't have any discrimination against other clubs. They will treat equally. So central clubs are also open to vote on that. As I mentioned prior, the budget plan will still move into action. However, the necessary recommendation and discussion might not be taken into consideration of the student union furthermore.
All right, so for this motion of IIUM Student Union Budget Plan 2023-2024, calling for MPs that approve the motions. Please raise your hand. No.
Cannot stay. This one cannot stay. This
Speaker, the
Yes.
quorum is not full because two people is not in the hall right now. Where did they go?
I think someone called Zami. And he said emergency city. Emergency Washington, someone called her.
All right, I think we should contact them first. Colleague, Lorena. Mike?
letak kat mikrofon, letak kat mikrofon.
Can I consult the commission? Is that allowed?
It's not allowed since they have to be here physically.
What about it? I'd like to ask, within the standing order, it says that under 41.3, it says that by show of hands. So the person does not have to be physically here, right? So through video call, it may be achievable, is it?
Basically, we have to achieve the quorum first before the voting session. Yeah.
I agree on that matter. Of course, show of hands, but we should not complicate any further about the question.
You should just bring the hand here.
Amendment of.
Mana berada Amirul?
Jadi, kita memang tak ada ni tak ada clause for hybrid session in standing order.
We do not, right?
Next amendment. Speaker. Actually, the total number of quorum, bro.
It's 24.
24.
I mean, total.
The total is 47 something, right?
48.
Okay.
Oh. Because in the document shared yesterday, it was, I think, 36.
That one is the registered, but not everyone is registered.
So shouldn't we consider, sorry if this should be the matter of the speaker, but shouldn't we consider the quorum actually 36?
No.
Okay.
Because in the study it mentions quorum is 1/2 of the entire members. So meaning that half of all supposed members out of that should be 24 lah.
Okay.
Contempt of parliament.
This one motion as you good.
Alright, you have quorum, right? Okay, alright. So for the voting session, we'll do it again. For the motion of IIUM Student Union Budget Plan 2023-2024, approving the motion, please raise your hand. Alright, thank you. Reject the motion. Reject the motion. Abstain the motion.
A new regulations for the SOP was just announced.
Please retract your statement. Don't contempt my deputy president, please.
Okay. Alright. So the announcement for the result for the motion of IIUM Student Union Budget Plan 2023-2024 is approved with the totals of voting result 20 approved, 0 reject, and 3 abstaining. Alright. Okay.
Abstaining, 20 approved. 23.
Okay.
2003. Terus nak nombor 3.
Quorum cukup ke?
Now it's 24. Okay. Again, can you do it again for a vote? Okay. Approve the motion. Please raise your hands. 3. Okay. All right. Thank you. Reject the motion. All right. 0. Abstain the motion. Now we have extra.
I call for motion to recount.
Second, third.
All right. Okay. Please just raise one hand. I think I can do.
Madam Speaker, the quorum is actually 25 because four of us entered after we complete.
All right, but the count now is 26.
Diri sekarang siapa yang boleh vote?
Okay. All right. We start. Okay. We start from we start for approve. Right? Approve berdiri. Like stand up. All right. Okay. Approve the motion. Stand up.
This might be the remnants of the old college club.
All right. Thank you. 22 for approve. Reject the motion. Please stand up. 0. Abstain the motion. Please stand up. Leave your hand. You confirm. Okay. All right, okay, it's confirmed, it's 25, okay, thank you so much. All right, so for the motion again, it's approved with the votes of 32 approved, 0 reject, and 3 abstain. All right, congrats. Now, as promised by Brother Adib, we'll make it very short, inshallah, try and go. Okay, can we go back to the document for the emergency motion? All right, so allocation for this motion, as per agreed. All right, 5 minutes for presentation, 10 minutes for discussion, and no closing statements. All right, so for emergency motion number 1, call for action in solidarity with Palestine. I welcome Brother Adib to present.
Alright, thank you, Madam Speaker. So the reason is the motion is brought up to this parliament is to call for action for subsequent violent attacks towards our brothers and sisters in Palestine. We stand here in solidarity, in strength, in support. Even without being there, we still support on how we can bring continuous improvements and continuous momentum of the solidarity. The reason why it is important to bring this closer is so that we do not lose the momentum in supporting our brothers and sisters. Hence, we bring to the table for members of parliament to suggest, as well as bring certain actions or probably a resolution that members of parliament can draft together in calling on this action. So I wasn't prolong this such as to entertain these suggestions, but my suggestions are to optimize the activities as well as the programs, for example, of students that we can conduct among ourselves. So this is coming, for example, in peace rallies, etc., etc. I open to the table for them to open suggestion, and probably we can discuss together how can we make it possible for all the clubs and societies to rally together on this matter. Such as we've all drafted together the solidarity statement for Palestine a few weeks ago. I hope this call for action actually gets support of all members of parliament. Inshallah, Biro Bidang nanti kaya all. Thank you.
All right, here. Thank you for the ID. Now we open for discussion for 10 minutes.
And I wish to speak.
And so please.
I would like to suggest to SU to open a donation and SU find certain collaboration with certain parties that can send the fund to the Palestine to aid them. Thank you.
Agreed. Can we have a possible suggestion or a unanimous decision on which donation fund we have? Because inclusive or non-inclusive of certain reports, there have been possibilities of abuse of funds by certain organizations, and we hope that we can get unanimous support of which donation funding should we be directing this to.
Can you give us like 3 minutes to search?
In the meantime,
Harmony. I think we all can do collective works to foster or promote the boycott movements. According to the BDS, boycott, divestment, sanctions movement works to end international support for Israel operations. This BDS is a led by Palestinian movements, not just a mere anti-Yahudi Melayu. It was posted on the Twitter or X, which is there are so many brands that has been misleading, but according to BDS, there's not all that we should be boycotted, including like Nestle. The BDS doesn't promote Nestle to boycotts, but it promotes McD's, Starbucks. So yeah, according to BDS. And also terms for the fundings to be allocated, because the fundings we need to ensure it's receive to the Gaza Strips as well. So we need go through the organizations that have been audited by the auditing. And one of it, I would suggest Mindcare because it's been audited through the because it's been audited and can be trusted.
All right, thank you. Yes, please.
Thank you. Although prior to this motion, I disagree with the big table, not necessarily because I do not support the call for solidarity with Palestine, but I believe this motion is merely or purely political because this action can actually be taken outside of this parliament because it can be further discussed and further approved or agreement of all these members that are present here. Because in such a short time, we cannot just directly decide which fund do we want to provide the collection of donation to, or what type of movement do we want. So that's why I believe that this motion should actually either be approved or rejected, and we just move directly outside of this parliament itself, because we actually have the emergency motion number 2 is actually not necessarily more important than this motion, but it needs to be discussed. But call for action should be an initiative outside of this parliament itself. Thank you.
I also agree with the representative from Sciences, as in a short period of time we cannot discuss thoroughly, but probably this will trigger a prompt response afterwards. Probably for this motion specifically, we can discuss in initial decisions on what should be done, and for that I will propose a task force comprising of all the clubs, including societies such as KBS and MRCs, to be discussing on ways to form a resolution, a drafted resolution to agree on this matter.
Okay. Any more from the MPs? No. Okay. All right. If there is no more, we will continue to the voting session. It's basically, as per discussed, and as per mentioned by Razali, if you agree for this motion, there will be the establishment of what it consists of every task force that consists of every society. All right. So for that, we cast the vote now. Okay. All right. So for emergency motion number 1, calling for in solidarity, I believe. Okay. Call for action in solidarity with Palestine. Approve the motion. Please raise your hand. Twenty-three, am I right? Okay. Reject the motion. Please raise your hand.
0.
Abstain the motion. Please raise your hand.
1.
All right. Okay, thank you. Okay, so for that to be said, the motion, the emergency motion number one, call for action in solidarity with Palestine, is approved with the votes of 33, approved, 0, reject, and 1 abstain. All right, so let's continue with the emergency motion number two, discussion on the execution of student empowerment in public university. So that I would like to invite Brother Ali to present the motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm not sure who did the slide, but brother from thank you very much. Okay, as such, I think this is a very important matter to discuss as the implementation of such procedure for approval and as well as student empowerment shall include a lot of these matters. So if I may request by the speaker to read the article for the parliament, right? Okay, so the circular that was provided by the Ministry of Higher Education reads as follows. Ketetapan pelaksanaan agenda pemberkasaan mahasiswa fasa 1 di Universiti Awam. Agenda bilangan 1, pemilihan majlis perwakilan pelajar Universiti Awam dilaksanakan sepenuhnya oleh pelajar. Ketetapan I, pemilihan majlis perwakilan pelajar MPP atau Persatuan Mahasiswa KM dilaksanakan sepenuhnya oleh mahasiswa. Campus Election Committee CEC berfungsi sebagai suruhanjaya pilihan raya SPR dan diberi kuasa oleh Parlimen Mahasiswa. Kedua, tiada campur tangan pengurusan universiti dan hal ehwal pelajar dalam segala keputusan dan pelaksanaan pemilihan MPP/KM. Kedua, autonomi pengurusan aktiviti pelajar. 1. Pelajar diberi autonomi untuk merancang dan melaksanakan aktiviti. Kedua, hal ehwal pelajar bertindak sebagai penggerak cara dan memantau aktiviti mengikut cara-cara yang terpakai di institusi masing-masing. Dan tiga, autonomi pengurusan kewangan pelajar. Pertama, universiti atau hal ehwal pelajar perlu memperuntukkan sejumlah gerai kepada MPP/KM. Kedua, MPP/KM akan merancang dan mengalihkan dana tersebut kepada badan dan organisasi pelajar untuk pelaksanaan aktiviti. Keempat, ketiga, MPP/KM diberi autonomi untuk meneruskan program dan peruntukan kewangan tersebut. Keempat, panduan pelajar berpolitik di dalam dan luar kampus. Pertama, membolehkan pelajar terlibat dengan aktiviti politik di dalam dan di luar kampus. Kedua, panduan kepada pelajar dalam mempraktiskan politik dengan baik dalam keadaan aman dan tenteram. Such as follows, these regulations that were provided by the Ministry of Higher Education is subject to the tabling of the amendments for the possibility for the Colleges and College Universities Act 1971. So on this matter, I would emphasize on the discussion on part number 3, autonomy pengurusan kewangan pelajar, as matters subject towards the allocation of grants to MPP/KM. So this case will be the student union, for example. And since of this will include the approval and the subjugation of the Student Program Approval Committee, I would like to open table to the members of Parliament to discuss whether they think that this proposition is a good move in empowering our students and whether the association of this empowerment actually does bring relevance towards our campus and university as a whole. This is also inclusive for the other agendas 1, 2, and 4, which are also open to the discussion by members of Parliament. With that, I open the table for debate. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Brother Ali. So now we move to the discussion. Harmony.
If this motion is approved, does this mean we're reducing the functions of SDEF for the central class?
On this matter, the regulations provided by the ministry are to be discussed and approved by the university authority. This does not mean that this will necessarily be implied immediately, nor will it be fully neglected. However, this will be subject to the students' opinions on this matter. As such, currently the student union is in discussion with relevant departments. On the locality level, this discussion has been forwarded with the Deputy Campus Director, Student Development Support Services, as well as the Student Development Department. And at the central level, it's with the Student Affairs. Yes, STAT as well as the Office of the Deputy Director for Student Development and Community Engagement. If this is in the case, my provisional diagnosis would probably say the work for the Student Development Department might be decreased significantly.
any more from the MPs? Do you have?
Success wishes to you.
Yes, please.
I think I would like to touch on three things. Firstly, this ketetapan by people the speaker or the regulations. I think first of all for the student union, I would like to ask the students union themselves to supervise the implementation on the university level itself, because although it is being regulated, it is being provided by the ministry, we can't be sure 100% by the from the university management itself. So I hope student union can be the by the level speaker team angkara ataupun supervise this implementation. And then I would like to touch on the second items, which is the autonomi pengurusan aktiviti pelajar. Hal ehwal pelajar tidak sebagai pengguna cara. I think hal ehwal pelajar in IIUM field it refers to the start of the SDF, right? So I hope student union can also underline how can they regulate after this and basically changing the status quo in itself, right? So student development should, I hope they should be 100% off from monitoring our activities, and maybe student union can 100% monitor the activities of KBS, MRC, and the clubs. But of course, please consider to remove, if not all, but most of the red tapes that we are facing right now, such as a proposal that we have to wait, yada yada yada, etc., etc., etc. Also, autonomy, the third item, autonomy pengurusan kewangan pelajar. I guess this is just to support in motion. I guess we have finally found the treasure where we finally have the autonomy of managing our own financial, of course, through the platform of student union. So I hope for all the central club after this, the allocation can be not equal but appropriate and suitable for them to organize programs and such. And for KBS and MRC, I hope there should be a consideration, maybe if not increasing the stadium kekalkan when they will speak, kekalkan the amount that is being allocated for us. That's all. Thank you.
Your eye to Deputy President too. For the point number 4, regarding the panduan pelajar berpolitik dalam dan di luar kampus, I want to get the clarifications from the Deputy President too. Is the panduan will be given to us by the KPT, or us as the student leaders are we given autonomy to create our own guideline?
If I may, I would like to relay this question to the President of IIUM.
Guideline untuk berpolitik kan. So basically we don't have a proper guidelines yet, because ini termasuk Universiti Awam in Malaysia, because in AUKU, Alta University and College University, it's still prohibited for students to involve in politics. So it's subject to the discussion amendment of AUKU lah, which will be tabled estimated by the end of this November. And the guidelines, usually the practice, the current practices between Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, Ministry of Higher Education, and all the universities and MPPs and Kesatuan Mahasiswa, when it is involved guidelines or any procedures, they will be give full autonomy to all the MPPs, Kesatuan Mahasiswa, and university to decide specific guidelines, because different universities might have different guidelines on either politics or whatever lah. Okay, so
we create our own guideline.
yeah, we will create our own guideline.
Alright.
The alright was a different intonation right there.
Point of information, Pusha. Right, so I'd like to ask the presenter. Right, so basically, what is the suggested? Have you thought of the mechanism and also implementation of how we are going to conduct this motion? Because basically, from what I am seeing from this document is that yes, KBT is suggesting that the student union will take the approval of programs in our own hands, but to what extent? Because the money allocated for from SDF to SU would still be limited. So how would that be for the programs with like budgets out of like massive programs. So would that still be under student union, and then student union will be requesting the budget from the university, or how is the exact mechanism?
Right. So if I may share three important things that is actually a playwright for our discussion today. It's firstly a discussion which is a sesi urus. Pardon my Malay. Sesi Libat Urus di bahagian holistik mahasiswa Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, which was conducted end of last August. Secondly is a meeting with the Deputy Rector, Professor Ahmad himself. And thirdly is regarding the Student Union's update on our planned memorandum of agreement with the university. So all these three things I would say are very large game changers that will possibly alter the direction of our student empowerment exist now. On the matters itself, firstly on establishment, what happened during the sesi urus was that the Bahagian Holistik Mahasiswa provided a tata cara kewangan, which is exemplifying everything that should be taken into account regarding to the funding. But according to the tata caras, I think around 19 pages, it mentions that there will be processed a trust fund which will be fully handled by the MPPs or KMs on their own, meaning that the monies in the College Universities Act mentions that these organizations cannot have their bank account. So on discussion during the sesi Libat Urus was a proposal to amend that to allow these organizations to have such. So in regards to that, the Tata Cara Kewangan also mentions that they will allocate all the fundings to the Tabung trust fund for them to handle. However, since the in relation to IUM, since IIUM Student Union is technically apart from the university, there needs to be a subjective agreement or a reference on how we can make sure that that is possible. So as of now, if it were to be implemented, the student union needs to be engaged with a very strong discussion, not only with the certain departments, but also with relevant authorities such as the legal affairs office and also the higher up management on how can we make this happen. On such, that is the tata cara kewangan. Secondly is the what is the second part again?
Approval of programs.
Was it?
Yeah, basically I asked for massive programs because
the one I mentioned just now, 1, 2, and 3. What was Oh yeah, the meeting with the deputy director. Oh, yeah, I'll answer that as well. So the meeting with the deputy director policy, I probably have the same short-term memory like our officer from ISP.
Please retract your statement.
Oh, okay, apologies for me, I retract my statement. Okay. So on the meeting with the deputy director, the office themselves have also provided a set of regulations as well as a proposed setting for the approval of programs. Such that if I can disclose is that possibly it will be divided into certain authority levels, such as the departments or the IIUM. On this matter, it is still in discussion. However, I cannot fully disclose because it is confidential in nature. But that meeting was joined by several few student leaders as well as the deputy deans of necessary SDCs and relevant authorities within IIUM Kuantan. On that matter, the proposal and also the design discussions are also still within planning, so it is also still open to discussion. Lastly, for the memorandum of agreement, currently the student union is in plan to improve our current connection to the university by joining to possibly a memorandum of agreement. As such, if this were to be agreed by all members of parliament, we can have and set a precedent on how can we properly make this possible to be implied. And of course, as the student union's current practice, we do have our BOAs, and alhamdulillah this year we have tabled a clear guideline on the SOPs. So if it were to be implied, on my personal response will be that inshallah we will try and will possibly be able to handle it slowly. Inshallah. On the second matter is regarding large budgets, right? So if let's say the Tata Kewangan applies entirely to us, probably the entirety of the funding might come onto the MPPs slash KMs. As such, probably it shall also be approved by the MPPs slash KMs.
Alright, it's already. Okay, so for that to decide,
Can ask more? Can ask more or one last?
yeah, one last.
Right, point of concern. Basically, I'm trying to raise this concern to SU. Right, so basically, for SDEF, as of now, they have to deal with belas belasan with the commissioner speaker, belasan proposals each time for meeting, so that I'm completely on board with SU conducting BOAs to approve our programs. I'm really on board with that, but I'm going to ask the SU, is it within your capacity to hold these meetings entirely to approve every single program within our campus? Because yeah, we're going to deal with many proposals at one time submission. Many different clubs are going to submit the proposals, and it's going to be back to back. So usually BOA is held at night, right? Most probably because that's the only time we have. So basically, how are you going to conduct these BOAs for more proposals than you are able to account for?
Right. Thank you, Lucia, for the question. I would like to take this quote from the Office of International Affairs from a few discussions way back, which is that we come here as students to learn, right? Yeah, somewhat like that. And of course, this has been the strongest argumentation against implying this. For me personally, I believe that this is a leap of faith for us to take whether are we ready or not. If we do not take this possibility, we might never know if we truly are possible or not. Regardless, one pros of the establishment, if we are able to approve programs, is that we will no longer be limited to such as limitations for office departments or office hours, such that it will be entirely up to our freedom as students to govern how we deem suitable, and of course, including everyone inclusively. Hopefully that in having so, this will cater all the issues that has arisen before, especially regarding to the bureaucracies that currently exist. On my personal account, not representing the entirety of the union, I am a person who trusts that bureaucracy is important, but extensive bureaucracy is the reason why we have seen failing student activism. And doing so, I hope that we can dismantle unnecessary bureaucracies for a better student empowerment system, inshallah.
Okay, all right, last one, last one, last one. Can I ask the Deputy President to maybe table for an emergency motion in an emergency parliament for this particular matter, so we can truly discuss this at length, or maybe after, maybe not parliamentary. I hope it will be a parliamentary because it will be on record and it will be, official. I just have to ask that. Thank you.
On my personal record, I do not have any issues with that. I hope a longer allocation will be nicer to decide this, as I believe they are deciding to plan this to be tabled for the central parliament, am I right? Yes. So inshallah, this will be brought to the central parliament. But for the locality, if we cannot ordain for a parliamentary sitting, I would love to have a discussion with all the student leaders so that we can thoroughly go across all the mechanisms possible. But if this motion is approved, then inshallah, this will take into great leaps of faith that we can actually find a suitable mechanism for the future establishment of the empowerment.
All right, okay, that's the end for discussion. I think it's the end for the motion. So now we're going for the voting for emergency motion number 2, discussion on the execution of student empowerment in public university. We have the quorum, right? To confirm? Everyone is here? Okay, all right. So voting for approve the motion, please raise your hand. All right, thank you. Reject the motion. Please raise your hand. Abstain the motion. All right, thank you. Okay, for that to be said, the emergency motion number 2, discussion on the execution of student empowerment in public university, is approved with the votes of 18 approve, 0 reject, and 7 abstain. All right. Is there all right, that remarks the end of the parliament session. Congrats for making it until this up this time. So now is part 34. I think the commission, do you have any announcement to be made? No. All right. So for that, we adjourn the parliament session. We have Tasbih Kafara and Ms. Fatima.
In regards to the buy-off pledge, just sign and put your name there and don't take it back to your room. Letak di atas tu because we need to ambil balik.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, for news ni dah collect ke atau orang tak ada? Dah bawa balik. Okay, so you guys gerak balik